The Bluetooth. Device is ready to pair. The Bluetooth device is connected successfully.
Testing. Technical time. Oh, testing. That's funny. Testing. 1.
Good morning. Good afternoon, I mean. I'm losing track of time. That beat's so bad. Oh yeah. I don't know.
Check.
Okay. Mike, my brother. Do you want me to bring the plant on your side? That might be better.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Temple New African Thought, TNAC, for our weekly holistic training service. Greetings. Right here? Once again, good afternoon. Welcome to the Temple New African Thought, our weekly holistic healing circles.
Yes.
Ashe. Would anyone like to begin this session with libations?
I'll pour if you speak.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Brother Farr is going to do the ritual part of the libations. This is a time that we want to connect and or reconnect with our ancestors, the knowledge and wisdom that they've passed down to us, those that we're still trying to get a more holistic and real connection to and with. So with that, you can call out those ancestors of old that bring these type of concepts and ideas to your mind, and after that we'll say Ashe. Ashe. Malcolm X. Ashe. 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 Ashe.
Dr. Ben.
Ashe. 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 Ashe.
Stephen Biko.
Ashe. 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 Okay, thank you. Next, we want to bring it a little bit more home and make it a little bit more real, personal, that personal connection in terms of our ancestors, those individuals in our personal lives, those in our personal spheres of influence that have touched our lives. I'll say Kabil Abdul Manan, Ashe. Ashe.
Grandpa Stokes, Grandpa Winkler.
Ashe. 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 Ashe.
Pauline Johnson.
Ashe.
Willie Johnson.
Ashe. Janet Jenkins. Ashe. 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 Ashe.
All my past brothers and sisters.
Ashe. Okay, thank you on that end. Now, what we want to do the same for those yet unborn, those that we hope that will carry on this tradition, not only in word, but in deed and in action. Okay, I guess just several Ashes. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Thank you. Ashe. Thank you very much.
If anybody wants to share a form of expression, whether it be song, poetry, anything like that with the circle, this is the time you can do that. Anybody?
A song, a drum beat.
I like to get a drum call going.
share something. Once again, I'm Abu Jamal. I'm not feeling the best physically, and I was on my way up here thinking of all the reasons why I'm not going to participate today. However, when I said for me this is a holistic healing circle, for me this is what this is. So for me being here, it's helping me deal with my pain in a real sense. So I just wanted to bring that to light, and I always like to, the way I said, make things real and personal in terms of development and growth. Ashe. Anybody else like to share? Bob Ausar, you have anything to impart this morning, sir, this afternoon?
You can do a little stretching, a little breathing. How about that?
Ashe.
So, we can stand up. Thank you. Everybody stand up for a second. So we call this one, it's easy for everybody to do. It's called shaking, right? And while you're shaking off all your stress and everything, you're letting it go down. So this is the point. You turn your waist while you're shaking. In Qigong, that's called massaging your kidneys, okay? And you do the shake, and you see how my breath is hitting the down? So you go all the way around. Yeah, go ahead. So you're shaking off all the stress from last week. This morning, trying to get ready, you know what I'm saying, rushing in here, all that is going down to the ground. Do it your own particular way. My man doing it in his seat, that's right. Shake it off, shake it off. And that's what it's all about. It begins in the mind. All right, stop, cross your hands, take a deep breath. Breathe out your mouth this time. One more. Breathe out the mouth this time. 1, 2, 3, one more. Breathe out the mouth. Now take the tongue, put it at the roof of the mouth here, teeth together, and hold your hands out here like this. And we just gonna take a deep breath in, and see how your thumb is up like that? Just let it relax. Let your shoulders relax, drop them. Breathe in, breathe out. This is called standing meditation, or even iron shirt qigong. While I'm showing you this one, I like to show you easy things to do, right? It helps your upper and your bottom. Matter of fact, it helps all of your body. So bend here like this, and you can close your eyes, tongue at the roof of the mouth, and this is all the work you got to do. Well, breathing from your lower dantian, you connect a lot of things, and you just stay in this position. And just breathe in, breathe out, relaxing your mind, your body, and your spirit. Standing meditation is good for your legs, as you can see, and make them stronger. It's good for your chest. It's good. It's all overall good for your whole body. You can stay in 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, a half hour. So turn your hands like this. Now push down, stand up, breathe in, squat down, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. And the last one is love, self-care for each other, but for yourself first. Because I always say, if you can't love yourself, you definitely can't love nobody else. Ashe? Okay. Ashe. One love. Us. One love.
Does anyone else have anything to share? Well,
I can share a song.
Yes, sir.
I can share a song.
Go ahead, brother.
Be back on the drum.
I guess you wonder where I've been. Want to find love within. I came back to let you know. Got a thing for you when I can't let go. My friends wonder what is wrong with me. I think you're alone. I came back to let you know. Got a thing for you when I can't let go. My friends wonder what is wrong with me, 'cause I'm in a daze from the love you see. I came back to let you know. Got a thing for you when I can't let go.
Our sister has something to share.
Thank you. I have a poem that I wrote. Just wanted to share. Still in its beginning stages. The poem is called Smile. Smile, beautiful one. Your smile breaks the strongest of egos. I feel the joy in your smile. Mirror, mirror, your smile so tender. I'd rather see your smile than see a smile emoji. There is nothing general about your smile. It would cause the general to wave the flag. Your smile, beautiful one. The mirror reflects its pure essence, causing many to use adjectives to capture its beauty. Dazzling, yes. Contagious, yes. Your smile makes the weakest want to attract you. Smile. Your radiance brings the highest vibration. That golden energy. Smile, beautiful one.
Thank you very much. Anyone else before Dr. Ausar comes to assumes the roster? Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Hello, this is my first time in this space. My name is Keisha. I was just actually on Facebook this morning. So let me go back a little bit. So I recently met Baba Ausar, I guess senior, at the 3rd Annual Mindfulness Conference. My role at the Park Heights Community Health Alliance was the Assistant Executive Director. So I was able to meet him because I came on and I was able to work on that event. At the Park Heights Community Health Alliance, they do mindfulness and yoga at Park Heights. So trying to bring mindfulness, yoga, meditation, and wellness to a community that is largely underserved and traumatized. Most of the inhabitants of Park Heights have an ACE score of a 9, which is a trauma indicator score of children who've suffered trauma. So 9 is a very, very high score. I myself have an ACE score of a 9. So me working at the center was like a full culmination of my healing journey and overcoming some traumas that I experienced growing up in that environment at a young age. So meeting him and doing the yoga was foundational to me resetting my nervous system and maintaining a steady gait and mobility. I was starting to lose because of the lack of use of muscles and extremity due to trauma. When you have anxiety and depression and you have grief and child loss and certain things, living in certain environments in survival mode for long periods of time, your body will shut down in certain energy centers. And if you don't know that, you won't know how to restore that. So I went on my own personal journey of sickness and healing, which led me to meet him, which led me to separating from that situation, but still appreciating the information and the viability of yoga, the spiritual culture, and the healing that needs to take place in the African American community, regardless of what side of town you live on. And so when I saw that this morning, I was like, what do I need to do? I need to get up and I need to go to this event. So now I'm here. So thank you all.
Welcome.
And I was here on time because I'm never on time for anything. So,
Shay, thank you very much. Well, next, Dr. Winkler, Dr. Ausar is going to come up.
See, I'm over here sweating. I know you can see. I know you can see. Hey, look, I don't guess about the skills.
Yes, sir. Well, the theme and topic for this afternoon's discussion will be the lie of no culture. The lie of no culture. The lie of no culture. And while the doctor's preparing to come up to the podium, we will patiently wait.
No pressure.
So while we're waiting, just wondering, before we jump into the lie of no culture, and not assuming that everybody has the same definition of culture, what is your definition of culture if we can go around the horn? With the mic, please.
My definition, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Is the way of life, the way a group of people live, the music they listen to, the food they eat, their philosophy. It's like a shared identity that a specific group of people have. That's my identification of culture.
I appreciate that. Anyone else? I would define culture as agreed upon norms in a certain geographic or demographic area. What are your thoughts?
I think you can expand on that because, like, those same cultures. We can expand on that because I believe what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying, but you can also expand it geographically through the diaspora. So you can have Senegalese culture outside of Senegal and things of that. So yeah,
definitely.
All right, thank you. Now working together.
Synergy.
Panama.
Yep, that's all.
Testing. All right, thank you. All right, may I ask my elders for permission to speak? All right. Blessings. How's everybody doing?
Doing well.
All right. Last week we spoke about how everybody came in early and how everything, the synergy was flowing. The synergy's still flowing, but everybody ain't coming early. So you see me multitasking and doing some things. Yeah, pull it away a little bit. All right, so how you doing, my dear brothers? All right, beautiful poem. I didn't get the rest of everything that was going on. Baba, I heard him call on you, so I know that was awesome. All right, so I guess I'm trying to regulate my own nervous system here, just to kind of look around at you all and ground myself.
Got a new visitor as well.
And thanks for your words and all those things, and asking where to sit because you sound like you're ready for business. All right, so today, Brother Fur, thanks for jumping in there. Brother Boo, thanks for jumping in there, and everybody else in between. Brother Paris, nice seeing you. Looking splendiferous over there. So today is the lie of no culture. Reframing the myth that African Americans or American Africans or Black people in America, or however you want to identify yourself. No, that's not the debate today. So reframing the myth that African Americans don't have culture. All right. So I want to have a talk, and I want us to take our time with this talk. I put together a PowerPoint expeditiously, so if you see any errors, know that I was trying. With the help of the brevity of ChatGPT, can help you take your words and polish it up or dispolish them. So and blame it on the chat if my words didn't come together right. All right, but so let's talk about it. And I think Mr. Fur for beginning with this question about what is your definition of culture. We're going to do that again a bit. So I put here just to kind of preface us, even in the most superficial sense, I guess I'm coming out the gate, Americans not only have culture, African Americans not only have culture, but it can be argued that we are the cultural leaders of the world. I say it can be argued. From music and art to language and fashion, our influence is global. But let's go deeper. Culture is more than a song. Culture is more than a dance. Culture is more than food and the food you love. But that does not diminish the essentialness or the essence or the importance of those aspects of culture. Those are important. But so let's go back around the room and slow it down a bit. And I want to know, what is culture to you? So y'all heard my thesis.
Yeah.
My thesis is that hell yeah, excuse my language, African Americans have culture. And I argue that if anybody says anything other, they have some confusion going on. But the confusion has come from a place. And sometimes it's come from us Africans in America ourselves.
Yeah. I agree with you totally. I think that African American culture is popular culture worldwide. And I would definitely argue that we have culture. I also think that certain cultural norms may not be the best cultural norms, but we have a very strong
Hold on. What is culture? Because I'm going to get in that part.
Okay, so I think culture is agreed upon norms or expectations, sometimes spoken, sometimes not spoken, for geographic area or nationality. Sometimes it's demographics, but it's subsets and pockets of people who have agreed upon norms, and sometimes it's spoken of, and sometimes it's not, and sometimes it's just done, and that's my
Okay, thank you, brother.
I think culture is the response to an impulse.
Culture is, don't drop the mic, keep talking. Break that down.
Okay, because I wanted to follow, I was hearing the directive, so I want to make sure.
But let's say it again, though.
Yes. So to answer the direct question, I believe that culture is a response to impulse. So I say that way because, interestingly enough, this morning I was looking at the podcast R&B Money, with Tank and Jay Valentine, and the guest was Jermaine Dupri.
Okay.
To me, and I'll be very brief, Jermaine Dupri is very unique. He has a very unique and, to me, honest and authentic approach to what made him become what he is in the entertainment world. It's very honest. It's not superficial at all, as you would think. Anyway, my point is this. When it came, if you know Jermaine Dupri, his career began by discovering Crisscross. And when he discovered them, he noticed in Greenbrier Mall in Atlanta, the community's response to this 10 and 11-year-old boys. That was the first thing he did. He was looking around. He saw everyone's response to them. So that connected him. So later, as he began to develop their career, he saw they had on these overalls. And one day he said, you know what? Now, knowing that the community responded to them, he said, hey, turn them around. You know, take them off and turn them around and wear them backwards. And let's do a test and go through the mall. And he did that. And everybody in Lenox Mall went crazy. Where y'all get that from? Da, 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 da. You know, where did you? And so there was an impulse. I really believe that Jermaine Dupri felt. And it began with seeing people's response to these two young men who they were very confident and charismatic when they were young. But once he saw that, he built on that and said, well, since you guys have this since people have this reaction to you, do this and let's see what happens. And he did that experiment and it became this huge thing.
Yeah. How many people want to say, a Mac Daddy make you, Crisscross make you? You know, thank you for that. Anybody else?
I was trying to understand. It's kind of a twofold question. You just had, I agree with you about the impulse, because I was about to say it was pretty much culture to me means a way of doing things, a way of understanding things. And pretty much, like you said, a trendsetter. Because the second fold of that is that America is built on our culture. Every facet. It was taken and said it was their culture, but originally it was our culture.
All right. So again, I want to say, even in the most, go ahead. Give me the mic. Oh, y'all, you want to come, huh? Okay. Go ahead.
In terms of culture, known or unknown, is what we all exist in. It cannot be escaped. I mean, even I heard on the other day when the football players talking about football culture. T-Net right here, this is a culture. Going to work, that's a culture. Your family is a culture. So culture cannot be separated from our very existence. In terms of those models and that impulse, we just finished reading The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. And in there he states, someone has to be bold enough and daring enough, in my own words, to step out. So what I'm hearing is that's an example. And the question is, the type of example, nevertheless, that's an example. So culture can develop by impulse. It can be developed by being negative.
So what is culture?
Culture is a set of norms and principles and ideals that any group of individuals adhere to.
Okay.
And within those cultures, some of those individuals may not want to adhere to the general concept of that culture.
Okay, thank you. My sister.
Mike.
I'm sorry, mine was twofold as this sister's was as well. So for the first part, I put that there's the theory, there's the pattern, right? There's the mind process of culture. Culture is a behavioral and widely held set of beliefs, practices, and patterns of behaviors by a group of individuals collectively. But the second part of that is the practice part, the actual hands-on activity in the day-to-day life.
Mm-hmm.
That's the material.
Mm-hmm.
And that part of culture is our DNA. That's our frequency. That's our vibration. That's our creativity. That's our mind and our mentality, how we guard it. We use it through boldness. We create examples. We disrupt social norms that don't benefit the collective, hopefully. And we act impulsively to change things in an elevated way. I know I kind of went low at the end.
Yeah.
No, can
Yeah,
somebody
I heard
put
you.
that device on like silent? Oh, okay. Oh, help him out, Paris. He's a millennial. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I hear the two? What, you about to say something else? I did get it. What was the first part of your? Because I heard I was trying to fix the noise behind me. It was like twofold. Did you remember that? It was just off the spirit. Trend setting. Okay, thank you. The first part, because I missed the first part. So trend setting. I'm talking so they can hear what you're saying. Okay. All right. Brother Lowe's, you got something?
I think I'm kind of piggybacking off of. I want to start like by acknowledging exactly what Brother Fur said. I believe so it's the collection of people, whether it's demographically or like geographically or you know, it's a set of like, it's not guidelines, but a set of like norms that people participate in, whether it be consciously or subconsciously. What I want to add to that is sometimes I believe that culture derives from a place of necessity as well. So like you utilize the things that are that you're surrounded by, whether it be like I said, whether it be the rising of a river or the crops that grow, or you devise a way to eat a certain way because of what you have. And I believe the second, to go on the young ladies part, the second half is that can also become desirable to others who watch, and then they tend to deem that your culture and borrow from it. But I believe the necessity of just being, the necessity of existing in a certain state.
So I thank y'all for that. I'm gonna move on because we're gonna get into some things because I think it's a foolish question in the first place. Honestly, I want to get to a point where I'm telling you where I want to speak to what I think people are trying to say, and I also want to demystify the actual thing that they're trying to say, because to say that African Americans or Black Americans or however we want to call it don't have culture it's not an argument. It's not a real conversation. I mean, I debunk. I have a video. Go check it out. Busta Rhymes and what's his name? Fat Joe. You know, talking about African Americans don't have culture, right? I see. The thing is, it's kind of like people in Baltimore think they live in a small town because somebody told you that, and really you live in one of the most major metropolitan areas in the country. So, like, literally, it's like in your mind, somebody told you something and you believe it. In fact, we believe it because we pathologize ourselves to the greatest degree. When I am saying we pathologize, I'm talking about us in this country, even some of our healers, our warriors, our scholars, and I understand why we did it. Because we felt like that which we had wasn't the same as our ancestors on the continent. And we look at, and I'm gonna get to it, and we look at other people's traditions and somehow compare them in a sense against us, kind of like an individual compare themselves against something else that is romanticized. I'm gonna get back to that a little later. We're gonna talk about that. So we're gonna get there. And so culture in the simplistic senses I have on this slide, culture is the total way of life of a people. Values, traditions, worldview, and systems that sustain identity and survival. It evolves over time, adapting to meet the needs of the people it serves. And this is what many of you kind of said. If we pull all those pieces together, I think this kind of shares what you all kind of said together. So again, but Cambone says something, and it goes with my dear sister here when she talks about DNA. Kobe Cambone, one of our preeminent African Senate scholars, rest in power, he says culture is the institutionalized practices and products of a people's worldview, evolving through their biogenetic, geohistorical, and philosophical patterns passed down from generation to generation. So culture is a people's worldview, or as he says, they're on their cosmology. Culture is how we engage with the world. Culture is how we are taught to engage. Culture, in a simpler sense for me, is it teaches you how to engage with the world in a sense to protect you. And lots of times we have adaptive and maladaptive. That's what we're arguing against. We have adaptive means and we have maladaptive means of coping. But I posit, and we're going to talk about it a little bit more, that we typically, as we typically do in our fear-based way of engaging or understanding, we overemphasize in our minds what we deem the negative aspects of our culture. Because everybody ain't shaking their ASS on the corner. You just don't like to see the few people that do it. Everybody ain't selling no drugs. You just don't like to see the few that's doing it. You see what I'm saying? So I'm trying to hold back. But what I'm saying is, it is called what people posit in your minds is what you tend to believe. It is that Eurocentric war that is going on for our minds to have us feeling that we don't have culture, and that the culture that African people in America have is dirty. When we are some of the most resilient people that have ever existed, and you can prove that by our own history and how we still continue this day. So is there a question about whether we have culture? That question is idiotic. Pardon me. And I'm sorry for going ahead of my slides because I want to have a conversation, but somehow what they say, the African Holy Ghost is not trying to hold back.
Let him go.
Huh? She said the fire. Dr. Marimba Ani says this, y'all. Let me see if I can read that all the way from over. You said I need a drink. What happened? Ani's ideas on culture. Dr. Marimba Ani says culture is ordered behavior. She says humans cannot function in chaos. They create an ordered existence. That order reflects the worldview, the shared way that they interpret reality. Culture is ordered behavior. The patterns of thought, as the sister said, patterns of thought. They're not random. They come from a cosmology, i.e. beliefs about the nature of the world that is passed down through generations. A people's worldview shapes what they consider meaningful, moral, and worth, what's that word? Preserving. Cultural orders tells us or tells you how to relate to others, how to manage resources, how to express spirituality, how to respond to challenges. When cultural order is attacked or replaced, people lose their ability to make sense of the world and on their own terms. What does that mean to y'all? That's a lot. Pardon. It's on the screen if you have your good glasses on. I have my good contacts in.
As we talk about culture, the thought in my mind comes back to the original.
Make sure you're talking
man,
about.
The original man or woman. When you're placed in a place that has nothing, you develop something. And in that something, you create patterns. And it all derives from what? DNA that's inside of us. We create order. And all of that is culture. That becomes your culture. Am I right? Am I saying that right?
What y'all saying? What y'all think? Make sure you get. Mom. Do we have
I agree with some of what Mama says, but whatever the predominant culture is, that is eventually, I believe, going to affect the people or the person that's been immersed in that culture, particularly if they have no way of remembering their past. And Bob Marley said it, you don't know your past, you don't know your future. And a lot of the behavior that we see now with our people they're mimicking the imitators. They're mimicking what they think is of a higher order, as Miseducation of the Negro said. You know, we have a tendency, if we're educated, we don't come out and say that's who we're mocking or that we're imitating, but it's the white culture, and it doesn't make it right.
Can I argue something?
Go ahead.
Not against you, but I'm going to expound on it. And I said we all are educated. There's nobody in this room. I don't care if you have a 5-year education or a 20th year education that has not been educated in this society. And that's one thing we need to clear up, because I don't care if you're driving a truck or you're working in a corporate office. You've all been educated. And in fact, sometimes the one who hasn't been educated, sometimes the one who has not been educated in these institutions are more likely to buy into the stuff. Hence, we have Trump in office and certain types of men voting for him. I promise you that the educated men didn't, quote unquote, work for the most part. I mean, I don't know how to statistics, but I would almost put a wager on that. But yeah, we all, even in Miseducation Negro, we all go through education. I don't care if it's K to 12 or K to 24. Oh, y'all.
What I wanted to add to what both of my sisters had said was that the thing about culture is, with every culture, no matter what it is, and all of the people that I've worked with from different backgrounds and cultures, you have got to have a foundational cornerstone of strong faith and self-awareness. You have to. As a young child growing up in Baltimore City, I was educated by Baltimore City Public Schools. Mm-hmm. At that time, the curriculum was full of different experiences that where I came from I didn't have. Mm-hmm. They used language, which was English, and vocabulary in terms that I did not know how to use them in. Same words, but they meant something different to my counterparts from other cultural backgrounds than they meant to me, because of the way that my parents used them, the way that we believed and were taught and indoctrinated that other races were better. Mm-hmm. But my grandmother gave me a strong sense of self. Mm-hmm. Regardless of what I entertained and learned out in the world, mm-hmm. those foundations were at home. Mm-hmm. You have to have that. That's important. It doesn't matter if we ate government cheese on white bread. Mm-hmm. I had love, I had a woman, and I had family members in place who put value in me as an individual, mm-hmm. beyond what the world taught me.
Yeah, I think somebody was saying last week, if I recall. Were we here last week? Okay, I was. Somebody was saying last week that well, I don't know, maybe it wasn't him, maybe it was on our call for the initiates that they didn't like maybe it was you, Brother Los. You want to talk to that? Or you want me to go ahead and finish? Yeah, so the idea that he wasn't poor, like, and then I think he said something similar. I said, well, you weren't. You have to believe something that somebody told you to now find out that I was poor. And then sometimes in retrospect, we become traumatized about what someone told us in retrospect. 30 years later, now I'm traumatized or dealing with trauma that we were poor. In the whole life, you grew up and you were smiling.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that. I think I said it last week as well, but we also are in the habit of accepting other people's successes to judge our own success.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to come into the light of saying what success is to us. What is culture does? What is it to us? You know, because we can't just keep basing on what like you said, somebody tells you
Mm-hmm.
or puts this parameter and say, if you reach this, then, or if you do this, or if you look like this or sound like this, then you're successful. So,
Yeah.
Yes. Um, as a preference, I was challenged by the question because I play no part in foolishness like that. You know, do we have a culture? You know what I'm saying? That's foolish to me. But I'm just going to look at that there, if I may, on culture. Diop alluded to something, or he shared something, and I shared it before. He says that culture, in the word agriculture, you had culture. So we talking about, what I'm hearing is that what you are cultivating or that what you are tending to. And and he says it in there as ordered behavior. It is a behavior. What are you attending to? What are you paying attention to? And then it says that humans cannot function in chaos. So that which is important is to have what? Order. It says they can create ordered existence. Now, my thing is that I think that we got to move beyond existence because a rock just exists. It's what we do with the existence on this plane of existence. Because at the end of it all, and I'm going to sum it up, at the end of it all, we are here to be productive. So we should share in that responsibility of helping each other to be productive.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So Carter G. Woodson warned us of the deliberate war to de-Africanize us. This was Imam Faluke was speaking to earlier. This is a mental, cultural, and educational battle, I'm saying. This is a mental, cultural, and educational battle. Recognizing preserving culture is an act of resistance. And what am I saying here? What I am saying here is when we say we are at war, a lot of times we just talk. It sounds good. And really, we really have to know what we're saying. And then we don't have to know. I always give people, you don't have to know, you don't have to believe it, you can fake it in front. But what are you going to do differently? Are you going to just say words, or are you going to put that into action? Since culture is organized behavior, as Brother Kevin said, Wally Moo Kevin, but are we organizing? And it goes back to what the dear sister said earlier, but that trauma that we experience collectively, not just individually, but individually and collectively, has us struggling in our ability to relate with one another. But again, I want to go back to culture. Cultures can be adaptive and maladaptive. They can have nuance. There's subcultures within cultures. And a lot of what we talk about, again, are subcultures that are part of our own overall culture. And then we're in a pluralistic cultural society. I'm talking about if we even just stay within our own community. What does that mean? We're in a pluralistic cultural society. Oh, we gotta have a mic. I'm sorry.
And I say that like he knows what I was going to say. Excuse me. Diversity within the entire culture. In that particular culture, you'll have segments that practice different things, that think different ways, that vote different ways, that worship different ways, and that look upon each other differently.
Yeah. And there can also be an overarching culture amongst all those people. Yeah. Because sometimes I think we idealize things to a degree that we set ourselves up never to reach the goal that we set ourselves out for. You about to say something, dear sister? Okay.
Yeah. When you deal, for me, when I deal with diversity, it is very universal, very universal. Because a musician plays music, that doesn't define who he, she is. That's just an expression of them. Yes, a sister by the name of Dr. Sismo said that you have to take a very serious look at culture when it becomes destructive, because it's forever changing. And I don't get caught up in and putting names out there, but if someone, I ain't gonna say his name, but if someone says that we don't have a culture, that person just wants to be different just to be different, as if the culture that we have is not worth preserving, because it benefits that individual to say that. Ain't that something, man? And that's the sickness of the what we call the pop culture or celebrity culture. That's the sickness, and people tend to follow these. Yeah.
I would say, though, I would diverge a bit. I think that again we've been miseducated. I don't think it's always that people are just trying to be different or stand out. That's true, of course, with many things. But we've definitely been educated to see ourselves as lacking. So what we do is we repeat that cycle even. So the cycle itself, like many of us, we didn't just pop up here and knew that we had culture. I work with plenty of people. I teach multicultural counseling and this and that and other. And most people don't know what culture is to say whether or not we got it or not. In fact, white people don't believe they have culture. I know you will argue, debate, well, they don't, but they do. They do. So again, Dr. Carter G. Woodson said, he warned us about the deliberate, see, this is what I'm speaking about, the deliberate war to de-Africanize us. So there's been an intentional war waged on our minds to believe such things. We believe it. It's not that, well-meaning people believe this. Like we may have said it ourselves even at one time, because we believe that once we left Africa, sometimes some of us, and we mean well, that we've been robbed of a culture and we have not created and that we've lost everything. And there's been a very intentional scholarly approach that Dr. Marimba Ani has done to bring us back to the understanding that we never lost our culture. That African people, we still have our culture here where we are. And she says, you have, it's in my slide, you have to have a trained eye to realize and see the Africanity in this country. And I'm gonna get to it. One of the things is that what has us confused is that when we look at our Caribbean brothers and sisters, we might say that they eat breadfruit or something, or they might eat coconuts. Well, they don't have coconuts where we are here. Maybe in the South. But so when you're looking at things, you're looking at what I'm calling rituals, or you're looking at the things and not the core.
Yeah.
You're not looking at how African people and how culture evolves depending on where you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead. No? So again, somebody had something? No, go ahead. Oh, Brother Boo.
No, you can finish your thought. And then
I finished my thought. I was trying to change. The sister has something.
And this breakdown and understanding of culture, the way that's being presented here, oftentimes we hear like monolith African culture or African period, and especially when we're talking about the diaspora. So in this understanding here, we realize that different countries, different parts of the diaspora, even within our own city, has different cultures, and understanding the nuances of others helps us be more wholesome in understanding and relative to others' perspectives and cultures as well.
Yeah, what Brother Abu said, but like it's not even a but. What you described earlier, what you mentioned earlier, Minister Sa, about these different, I guess, nuances in the Caribbean and other parts of the world, even in the South, it's still like culture is not it's not bracketed. You know, it's not bracketed. So those things are people adapt and they add things to the culture, or things resurface. So I think as Americans, we are Americanized in our thoughts, in our actions. We're just Americanized, as you know, in general. So we don't even recognize the indigenous forms of practices of things that people shared back in the motherland, or even people of indigenous of this land or any other land. So because we're so Americanized, but I don't believe that culture per se is bracketed. Like it's not put in this box where things don't change and things are just this and not that. So just wanted to add that.
But then we have to also consider the fact that they Frenchnized. I don't know how you say that one. Frankfonized. That's what you call them, right? I'm talking about with the eyes on them. Yeah, Frankfonized and Frenchfonized, right? So they also what else are they? They Portuguesized. What else? Britishized. And if we had to be really honest, those who come from the continent, the revolutionaries, have come to this country and learned from us who Sankofa intellectually. And I'm not saying they don't bring anything. I'm just saying never diminish what we have done. The whole idea of African-centered thought is an American African concept in a sense, or diasporic concept. So what I'm saying is they don't mean no harm either. That goes back to what we was talking about earlier. No, people don't. We've been eyesed. You understand? So even our brothers and sisters who say these things don't understand. To me, it can be an idiotic question, but I understand. And people don't always mean harm. I'm sure that most of us has said that Black people don't have no culture, especially when we get upset. We don't have any culture.
This may be controversial. As I always play two sides to the situation where I don't believe that it's intentional. But could it be our journey, or individually and collectively, to remember who we originally are? Could it be a thought to bring back that remembrance?
What are you saying? What's the question?
No. If the question, I was kind of talking about what
Talk to the mic.
what he was saying.
No, just talk
When
to
he
the
was
mic.
talking about the attack of people, the white people attack of keeping it from us, our culture, or keeping the knowledge of the culture from us,
Mm-hmm.
or telling us this is what it is and this is what it's not. Could it be that all is taking place for us to find and remember our true essence, our true DNA, our true patterns? Could it be that push? You understand what I'm saying?
Could what?
Could the question of the culture question comes up?
What's the
they
question?
He said they keep the culture from us.
Okay.
Keep us from knowing who we are as a culture.
Mm-hmm.
Could that be, what's the word?
To keep the culture.
Another way of getting us to remember. Getting us, in other words, we start from something.
Mm-hmm.
So in order for us to know who we are, we got to go back to find out who that is.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
I understand all of that. I guess I'm trying to understand the question though.
Yeah.
Unless you're just making a statement.
Yeah, I'm making a statement. I
Okay.
said it could be controversial the way I'm seeing it on the two posts.
Basically, what's the controversial part?
Well, maybe it's not controversial. Yeah. Maybe it's not controversial.
So
I'm saying it on a twofold.
Mhm.
He can look at it that way, but I'm seeing it as a way of, oh, this trauma that I'm having
Mhm.
is causing me to remember who I really am, who we are really.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
What trauma?
The trauma of we are a certain, in other words, they say black folk, African Americans have no culture.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know I was poor.
Mm-hmm.
These are words that's used to create that thought process.
Mm-hmm.
So in that thought process gets me to thinking, or someone else to thinking, collectively we think, oh,
Mhm.
this is who we are. No, that's not right. But it wasn't facetious that they used those termly. You understand? It was allowed.
Are you saying that the European did not intentionally deculturalize us?
Intentionally, but everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. So that happening started what?
But
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. I think when we started, a lot of times, first of all, we think in a contemporary type of thought, and we forget like time is a wide range of things. So let me get to the point I'm trying to make. So that idea of this Europeanized idea that, let's face it, that the world lives by today, all around the world, is a new concept in the concept of time. It's like 600, if 600 years old. But the people lived in the world for way longer periods of time. So the way people thought, like you can go to Portugal. I just left Portugal. You can go to Portugal today,
Mhm.
and you'll see a more open-mindedness and a more likeness to African culture from African people that don't even look like that. It could be, of course, they're Portuguese, but they can come from Cape Verde or whatever like that. But you'll see more of a likeness to what you would think. Like, I've never been to the motherlands, unfortunately, but what you would think that people from the motherland would be, how they would be living their life according to, quote unquote, cultural rules or whatever. So I'm only saying that as far as like thinking contemporary, like a lot of times we argue and we debate, or we come up with ideas that we don't realize that in the concept of time, those are new ideas. So those aren't like embedded in us as people. People in Africa in the 1200s had no concept of white Europeans doing whatever they was doing.
Help me understand what we're talking about, please.
Oh no, I was saying.
I'm saying help me.
Okay.
I think I'm just lost.
No, I think we was. I don't know if because you pointed at. I think you was talking about Brother Kevin. I think it was Brother Kevin, but I think we had brought up earlier about. I think even somebody brought up the Carter G. Woodson. Oh, Brother Bull. Like we brought up Carter G. Woodson, and we were just talking about how the Europeanized or American white person or whatever like that keeps the African American or the American in Africa. I mean Africa in America. At a point where we believe that our culture is nothing, or we don't have a culture or anything like that. But what I'm saying is like that. Only reason why I'm saying is like we think in contemporary terms, like when we go back to the continent and we have people on the continent that have not been colonized or don't accept the colonized way of thinking, then that thought, it has nothing to do with them. Like they see past that. They don't even recognize that. I mean, of course it's evident, but they don't follow that.
Let me do this. I don't think I can come up to that floor today. So can we name some African American cultural norms? Everybody just name one. I'm going to say strong family orientation. Pass it around.
Good food.
Good food? Who said that?
I did.
Okay.
Stand on it.
Open spirituality.
Say it again.
Open spirituality.
Open spirituality?
Yes, not indoctrinated religion. Open spirituality.
Okay.
A certain level of respect for elders and submitting our young children to their presence and spending time with them.
I think a sense of community.
Sense of community. Okay. What
A sense of religion
a sense of religion?
and doing right. Yes, sir.
Okay. Morals.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
My sister. Oh no, she said music. Oh, music is a part of our culture, she says. So what about some about? Go ahead.
I'm gonna take it another direction, right? Within the African American community, there's a cultural norm or expectation, or like you got to work twice as hard to get half as far, or some version of that.
Work ethic.
Yes.
That's and so there's a book called. Go ahead.
The reason I stated it like that is because I noticed, one, we have a lot of positive culture, and then there's also going to be negative culture. But like that's one that I think people think is positive, but it's actually quite detrimental.
What's that?
That expectation that you have to work twice as hard to get half as far. I think that's a lie we tell ourselves.
So,
and we believe it, and we accept it, and we perpetuate it, and we teach our kids it.
Okay.
So did you say did you say a black African American norm?
Yes.
Okay.
Cultural norms.
Cultural norm. All right. Because I was going to say that is an American type of thing. Like when you go into different parts of the world, that's not. They don't have that. Yeah, they don't have that. We got to work hard as a. You know what I'm saying? Especially in countries dominated by black people.
Okay.
So these are African American norms, right? So this is one I think having an Easter Monday outfit.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
facts.
So aesthetics,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how you
cultural
dress.
aesthetics, right?
A Brazilian.
Fashion. Easter Monday. You-
'Cause everybody that does the general Christianity thing, okay, basically, I'm a new outfit on Easter, but only black folk
I'm gonna give you another one.
do Easter Monday. I don't know any white folk that do Easter Monday outfit. Like it's like we need an Easter Monday outfit.
I'm gonna give y'all one. I'm gonna say the world has modeled, in a sense. I mean, just other groups. Uh, Social justice orientation.
Okay. Say that.
What do you mean by that?
Somebody help me out. What y'all think I mean? Go ahead, Parrish.
I think the openness of presenting the resilience of I mean just fighting against social abnormalities is an American thing, is an African American thing. I believe you know, even and that's even just following not just what we believe, but that's like almost like it's American as the Constitution. Like you just say, hey, we have the right as Americans so to you know to rebel.
And the enemy is constantly trying, I don't typically use that word, but the enemy is constantly trying to dampen that spirit through all forms and all means. What I'm saying is that many people have gotten the textbook from Africans in America.
Yeah, I believe that.
You understand what I'm saying? In other groups, you know, in America, and many times we're very open people. Is that a norm?
Yeah.
And sometimes at our own detriment.
Letting people in the community.
Baba Cliff, what's going on? You want to join the circle? Resentophilia? Xenophilia. Okay.
But
No, I was just saying, yeah, a lot of people pattern our struggle and the way we fight for our rights by how we did it, how we came upon it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people do it like today, like the Latinos or whoever have this problem. They were like, okay, so where the black people at? Why aren't y'all out here helping us? You know what I'm saying? Really, because we know how to do that. You know what I'm saying? And when I was coming up, I was taught how to do that. You know what I'm saying? The songs that we sing, you know what I'm saying? The marches that we had. You know, we still
So our music, I'm sorry.
Say it again?
So our music is just not superficial. Our music is also purposeful and igniting.
Revolutionary, yeah. Exactly.
So in the West, sometimes you separate and compartmentalize things, but from an African perspective, everything has a purpose. And from an African American perspective, we use music as a form of resistance, a form of encouragement, a form of confidence, a form of fighting.
I think also from an African standpoint, those things are purposeful, more purposeful than, I don't know the word to use besides profitable. That's the American thing. So it gets out. Our culture is patterned after. I mean, it's followed more because of the exposure of it. Like it's out there. Like you don't go to Namibia and see what's going on. You know, Namibia's media is not saying, hey, that's what we're doing. We marching out here. We're doing this, that, and other. So it's also because of, well, I hate that word, but pop culture. It's like our culture, African American culture, is pushed. It's broadcasted around the world. So,
you know, when I go back to just, you know, when I asked the question and something came up, does everything happen for a reason? I think that's one of the things you was positive. I think we can have a discussion around that. I don't know if that's true.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's the part that I want to.
So
that's the part that
So something that resonates with me. You saying that? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
That resonates with me. Your answer So you said the question is, does everything have a purpose? Because we do easily say that there's a purpose for everything. And there's a part of my brain that has a universal belief in the idea that everything works together for good. There's a part of my brain that's attached to that. But it resonates with me to challenge whether or not everything has a purpose. Something in me gets that, because there are some things that happen that I just don't see the purpose for. So that's my answer. So this is me responding to that, because that resonates with me, that to challenge that belief
that everything has a purpose.
Yes.
So it's two things we were saying here, right? So one was from an African perspective, African-centered perspective, moreover, is that things are done with purpose.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So it means that you don't do things. Now this is a framework. Yes. Doesn't mean everybody operates in it.
Right.
This is a cultural norm.
Yes.
So if I am to go to sleep and rest, it's for me to re-energize myself. Some people rest because they just find it, or even that you find it comfortable. Right. But there's some deeper purpose.
Right.
If you're a warrior or warrioress, right? Rest is a whole nother type of thing. Right. So rest okay. Then there's this other conversation we're having about is there a reason why everything happens? I think those are two different things. Yeah. And I think that things happen because perhaps something led up to it.
Right.
But to go and give it a deeper spiritual significance, and what we draw from that is debatable. Because people would say we were enslaved because they needed to save us from being savages. So the thing is, and some Black Americans, even not just Black Americans, Black people and white people and all people all about say that they saved us. And they still say it today. I think Carter G. Woodson talked about it even, right? So the thing is, I don't buy into the idea that I think there's some, you can, depending on what you mean by it, whether it's true. So if it's some spiritual significance and because we deserved it, because this and that, no, that's just justifying your behaviors. And but somebody,
I've definitely bought into the concept of Bafula being like things happen at random and we look for patterns. I also do believe in that first example of like you do things for a reason, like the first way you pose it. I hear that, and I never really even thought about that. But yes, there's things that happen, like sun goes up, sun goes down. There's things that habitually happen, and that, yes, I agree with that part. The whole everything happens for a reason, in the sense of, I tripped and then a car accident happened 3 blocks away, and if I didn't trip, that car accident, no, I don't really believe that part. I think that you just happen to be at the right place at the right time, and it was random, and I'm glad that nothing happened, but I don't think that there's any correlation. I think trying to draw correlations from things, I think, can be detrimental in the same way where you can, or someone can make inaccurate correlations, like slavery saved Africans from being savages, which is a wild thought.
So, you made me come up with, you had some, Parrish? Okay, you're making me think of this thing where I've talked to plenty of people, right? I was a part of the African Religion Cultural Center. People call me from around the country when Dr. Ray took their stuff away from them. And one of the things the sister was telling me, one of the sisters told me, is that because she lost her baby, the people in her religious institution said because she wasn't a strong enough believer. So see, this things of meaning is that which traumatizes you or gives you resilience to rise, right? The way you draw meaning in things, we're also very resilient because African Black people we believe, I'm talking about African Americans inclusive, more specifically African Americans, the research shows and supports that we are really resilient due to the way to our faith. Because the way that we will spin Hurricane Katrina is very different than the way that Western Europe, white people in America do it. So to say we don't have a culture would be looking over all these nuances.
Yeah.
Because our faith is what allows us to continue. We can talk about and have the argument, debate about the faith being real or fake and all that other stuff in the future. But right now, what is serving people, religion and spirituality serve black people in a different way than it serves their white, if I can call them, counterparts.
Yeah. I would say using the phrasing, everything happens for a reason, is a cultural norm within African American culture.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying that I think that is a cultural norm.
And that becomes adaptive. I mean, until it's not. Because
as a survival technique.
Right, because everything happens for a reason until you start drawing negative experiences to that reasoning. Some people can say, well, you know what? It was their time. God thought it was time, and that could be a very positive experience. Other time could be you because you're a sinner, because you don't do well, because you are cursed. Because
I feel where you're going. Okay, so some things are true whether you want to believe them now or not. If we are to derive off our ancestors, what are we deriving from them? What did they do to cause us to be where we are right now?
I'm trying to figure out if this conversation is relevant to the topic.
So I'm talking about some things, as I said earlier, of everything happens for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Are we collectively, or are we talking about individually? Because we may not see it at that moment. We may not never see it.
Well, things happen because people make decisions.
Yeah, exactly. We do. We all make decisions.
Is that what you're saying?
I mean, no, what I'm saying is our ancestors made decisions. Now, from our ancestors, we gained something, correct? Because that's why we're here right now.
Right where?
Present.
In this country?
Yeah, no, just
or
period.
just existing.
Existence.
Okay.
Yes. So what I'm saying to you is that everything happens for a reason. We may not have the very minute at this specific moment as to what that is, but that doesn't mean that it didn't happen for a reason.
Well, typically when people say everything happened for a reason, there's a different. They typically mean that this happened. This happened because not because my ancestors sold me, not because they typically grabbing some spiritual meaning around it, right? And so they'll be like, well, we the son of Ham, or because we sinned, or whatever. So what I'm saying is, it depends on what you mean by that. I mean, I think I can change the word just to make it more of a change the word reason to there was some things that happened that led to this. Now, when we say things happen for a reason, that is a spiritually loaded type of phrase, which then we abstract all types of ideas from. But I'm assuming it's a spiritual thing, and it's cool. But what is the spiritual thing that why are we saying it happened? Because to make us stronger? I mean, what is it? I mean, I don't know what that is. Go ahead.
What just came to me, and I'm just gonna throw it out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes the statement "everything happens for a reason" can be something to say that helps you not take responsibility.
Mm. How so?
So let me say it a different way.
No, I like that. I just want to hear you break it down.
Well, yeah, and that's my attempt to break it down. Saying, let me say that.
Okay.
I'll say this: I work with the word detachment. I'm working with that. And I think because I'm working with that, I'm working on being, just facing myself, my decisions. And I can see with my own self how sometimes I think I might be getting a little tricky with myself, and maybe saying certain things helps me to not escape, or I'm looking for another word, to not it makes it easier to deal with. I think there's some statements make certain things easier to deal with.
Yeah,
I'll say it that way. Especially coming from where I come from.
So we've been talking about it for months now. What's the term we've been using? We want to spiritually bypass.
Bypass, yeah. And you know what? And whenever people say, it's bringing up something, but that's very powerful because it's that can be hard to accept that bypassing is happening. That's yes, I'll say that, but that word just it brings up a lot of reaction in me personally, which I probably need to talk about in another setting.
And then I go back to something we said earlier. I like to go back because I like to challenge things a bit. The thing is everything done in the name of good or for the good, or there's some good reason to come behind it? And what is good anyway?
Yeah, you know why I don't like the whole good thing? I think we said it a while back, right? Because
I'm challenging some of my mentors here, so I'm just letting you know. Go ahead.
No, good is subjective because one person's hero is another person's villain, and vice versa. If you steal for the sake of feeding your children, doesn't make stealing okay. I mean, that's some people's justifications for selling drugs. Good is one, you have to define what good is based on the culture, whatever the cultural norm is for good. And then, think in terms of, you probably gonna hate this example, but I don't have a better one. Like us from a Spartan culture, a fighting society, right? Like sending your kids out in the wilderness at 7 is normal. It makes a man out of them. So everybody, good is subjective.
So in other words, you don't agree with the idea of this universal good.
Universal good. I think that it treads a very thin line because it would have to be universally good. Like within, I guess clean air is universal good, right? I think everybody would agree with it. I don't know any situation where clean air is not a universal good, right? So we can agree upon there are universal goods, but as it pertains to action and thought and human behavior, it becomes a much harder line to draw because there's going to be experiences that might step on someone else's toes.
Right.
Mike Bow. Okay.
For instance, when I was working at Westinghouse, I used to wear these t-shirts all the time. It's a black thing. You don't understand. Or Malcolm X people had all these t-shirts on. And then this white lady asked me one time, she said, they call me Wink. She said, Wink, why don't you wear some good t-shirts sometime? So, in her mind, right? So I said, okay, how about George Washington? She said, yeah. I said, how about Abraham Lincoln? Yeah. And so then I had to explain to her that George Washington had slaves, you know what I'm saying? So without people for 2 barrels of molasses to show her the difference in the good of her good and my good. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what I get out of it.
And I thank you. And I think somebody was about to say something. I heard something. And I think even if she even understood that history, she could probably agree with you. But the thing is, we don't even know the history. Most white people don't realize that George Washington owned slaves.
Right.
They don't realize that Thomas Jefferson and all of them did too. They don't realize. Most of us don't realize that. We had the same story. They never told us that they owned our ancestors and enslaved them, and then in fact inherited some from his wife's side of the lineage and all that type of thing. And so we have all types of narratives. I mean, I think we all have, it's always going to be some meaning. But anyway, all this is cultural. But let's go back to culture. So meaning is very cultural. And I think it's a both and. I think mostly all of it can be, I think sometimes it does have us spiritually bypassed because it helps us escape the reality of this harsh world. But this is also a beautiful world. But the problem is we want to deal with the beauty, but not the harshness. Yeah, and that's the reality. That's why I don't believe in any of these things that we were born good or evil, or that everything is done for good, or no, it's just not. It's just done. It's not. Some things are neutral. Some things are because they are. And then the reality is, I think it gives us this idea to think that people are gonna stop killing each other one day. I think we really believe that.
Never gonna happen.
But they make their own concept of good, just like you said.
If we all just meditate enough.
Yeah, we just make our own concept of good. Like I said, like people will argue, is it a such thing as good, or because it is evil? Like you need one to balance the other one out. The other one exists without the other one. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
People make that argument.
Because I was cutting hair one time, and that's what made you mind of. And I had 2 children to cut. And the lady said, well, I want you to cut his hair short, and I want you to leave his hair long because he has good hair. You see what I'm saying? And I had to break down to her, no, he has a different texture of hair. That don't make it bad or even worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's it. We have hair.
Right.
Yeah.
Anybody who put any type of construct on it, I don't care what we say. We constructs is for us to kind of understand and communicate, but they all fail us. I always love the ancient Kemetic proverb that says, try to understand a heart because words are confusion.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that piece there.
An example of a present example of what you're talking about is exactly what's going on in Gaza and the relationship with Gaza and Israel. Like if you ask the average person from Israel, I don't even whether we're gonna call them a Jew or whatever, their sense of what is going on is that October 7th was the worst day ever, and so that was so evil, totally overlooking the years and years of atrocities that's been placed on Palestinian people. So you can go and ask them, I'm not saying all of them, but you can ask them today, like walk up to somebody today, and they will express the badness of the Palestinians and totally overlook anything that they're doing because they have instilled a sense of goodness on Jewish people. And I really argue that a lot of people are Jews, consider themselves Jews, because the good book says that Jews are God's people. It's not a practice of being good in them. It's like, oh, if it's God people, I'm going to be down with that. I'm God's people. You understand what I'm saying? Not practicing any of the things that they learned in the book or anything, but just that. And I think I brought it up before, like the idea of Christianity, especially in the new covenant of Christianity, is a way out for people. It's, to me, this is just my opinion, it's a way out. And that's also a part of this new culture, especially American culture. We have made God just be for America. I mean, they put it on money. They say, "Oh, God bless America." This, like, God has no sense of caring for anybody else in the world. So, I just wanted to say that, like, that is the concept of good. The concept of good and bad is just something that we create anyway. We create what we think is good, what we deem is good, and what we deem is bad. There's no like direct thing or specific thing that says that is
until you can pay attention to that good or bad. Once again, I worked at Westinghouse a long time. They bombed Iraq one time, and everybody was like, "Yeah, they bombed." Everybody was like, these white people was clapping. And I'm like, they just killed babies. They just lost mothers, and I shot that to them, and then they got quiet because they wasn't thinking like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Sad part is they still don't care.
No.
They just don't want to. Like I said, I go back. If you see, I'm Not Your Negro, the just the little documentary on James Baldwin. At the end of that, he actually says that like people don't care. He used white people. They don't care about that situation. They just don't want to be the bad guy in the situation. They don't want to be looked at as the bad person, but they don't really care about that.
All right, let me try to get through this. Let me try to get through this, and then we're gonna come back and we try to close it out. So, sing ourselves clearly. I moved over here because my click is not. I think I need a battery. We often over highlight what isn't working in the African American community. We spoke about that earlier. But forgetting that there is a constant war waged against us. We also neglect to examine the ills of other societies, including Black societies, as if the grass is green on the other side. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, like, for example, my wife's from Jamaica. You ain't gonna look up? So, in our minds, people who say certain things, I think we believe all Jamaicans are Rastafarians. We do. We think that all Jamaicans are living Itau. And as if
Say it one more time.
Itau. We do. We believe that. Like, we think Jamaica say one love. Everybody's walking around saying one love. They might say one love and rob you because they know what you're doing. I mean, like, we look, and I'm saying that I'm not saying it to denigrate my brothers and sisters and my family from Jamaica. What I'm saying is they got problems too. But in our minds, and even some of theirs, like Busta Rhymes and them, because you got some music that sound closer to what they deem continental music, or because you got some percussion. I don't know what they're thinking about. But what I'm trying to say is there's problems everywhere in all these cultures. Look, I mean, you only can hear the problems when you're married to a person from another country. What's going on over there? And what type of stuff they trying to keep their children from falling victim to. On the continent of Africa, the same thing. When you have people come here, just like people from New York, right?
What you got
When they come from New York, they left New York. But everywhere they go around the world, they want to act like it was the most perfect place. Yeah, well, go back, bro. I'm not you, bro. Not you. We love you. But you understand what I'm trying to say. Y'all ever met a New York person like that before? Mm-hmm. Everything is like, oh, bro, if it was that great, y'all city dirty. Okay. You know, like everything. Like you even then you have the nerve. No, I ain't gonna mess with my Philly brothers and sisters because we like sister cities, but Philly would actually go somewhere and say something dirty. Like Philly, for real. I mean, I ain't never been to a place. Look, I'm from Baltimore and I went to Philly and I was like, jeez. But what I'm saying is, this is what we do in our minds. We go places and we're very ethnocentric, even within groups. I'm saying people do that when they go across the world. Jamaicans love Jamaicans more when they come to the United States because they're not in Jamaica. If you was to go and patriate in Africa, you'd be all African American. Oh yeah, we African. Like you African here, you get over there and you would be like, I'm a Yankee.
Yeah, I also think too that it's hierarchical, as what Carter G. Woodson was talking about, but it's on a more global scale. It's, okay, well, since we're from such and such a place, and we have this on you, and it gives a false impression of people feeling more empowered than other people that look like them, instead of saying, you know, we are on the same ship together. And though you may not have that issue, you have this issue. But if we work together, we can kind of eliminate both of them.
A lot of that is still based on a colonized mind, because my wife is from the Bahamas, and her mom's from Jamaica, but her dad's from Bahamas. I visited Bahamas way more, and Bahamian people despise Haitian people. Like, when I say despise, I'm like, they are the scum of the earth to Haitian people, to Bahamians. And that's their brothers from the diaspora. So we know it's certain countries in Africa where the neighboring country people, they put them down. You can't cross. You're like nothing to them. So, but a lot of that is from the colonial mind as well. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Because even like Rastas, like Minister Sar said, in the Bahamas, people don't like Rastas. Like they like, to them, they're like the guys you see begging on the street.
In Jamaica, they don't like Rastas. So what I'm saying is, I mean, like just like you walking around looking like this, I'm not saying they don't accept people, but the Seventh-day Adventists be calling the Rastas one thing, and then the Sunday Christians talking about this Christian. And what I'm saying is they still got problems. I'm talking about some similar problems, marital problems, all types of issues. Well, and let me just be very clear. What I'm really trying to say here is that African people across the globe, minds have been colonized. There's no better person. Just because you eating breadfruit don't make it, because it looks cultural, don't mean it's cultural. I mean, what I'm saying is no better. You had to survive though, so you do have a culture too. Yeah. So you had to adapt your culture, but the war is still being waged wherever we are. Look, you can go to any of these black places, and everybody want to be everything besides black. And I'm being general. I'm just being very general. And what I mean is, as Dr. John Henry Clark said, you black people will out-pope the Pope and out Muhammad, and it didn't stop here in the United States. In fact, there's more African Muslims on the continent of Africa than there's Muslims around the world. In Arabia, let me say that. There's more Muslims on the African continent than there's Muslims in Arabia. Y'all can source that up.
I got a note about the quote. I thought it was a beautiful thing. I just want to say there's a culture in here that I love, that when it was asked what African American culture is, we simultaneously agreed we were going to say the most beautiful things about Black culture in America, and I appreciate that, right? And I will also be thoughtful and say that, that's not everywhere. I think that that's a culture in here. Like, you might go to a barbershop across the street and ask the same exact question, and they might pull every negative stereotype you can possibly imagine. And, some of it may be true. I don't know. Some of it may not be true, but they're not going to think of the most positive things. And I would just want to say here, I noticed that was like on the forefront. And then also, you might ask those same people what they think of Asian culture, and they're going to say a lot of positive things. And then you might ask them what they think about Jewish culture, and they're going to say a lot of positive things. And part of it may be their ignorance of not knowing some of the more negative things, because a lot of the stereotypes with Asians have to do with math, and a lot of the stereotypes with the Jewish people may have to do with financial literacy, but they have just as many problems, maybe, I don't know, as anybody else. Everybody has a human experience. But I just wanted to say the culture here, at least, I appreciated the fact that when that question was posed.
And you're talking about here, meaning
here in this circle.
And this circle has circles all across the country that are like this, right? It's several in this city. Might have nuance and different cultural components, but this circle, it doesn't even look like this in places. Like the barbershop is very pluralistic, and you can get about all the conversations of Black culture across the board. And in a sense, whether or not they agree totally, for the most part, Black people, no matter where you are in this country or any other country, they want the best for us. And when I mean us, meaning Black people, especially, it's this whole thing right here that I have both and perspective. I put here, we are both connected to Africa and have our own unique experience here as American Africans. Because there's this whole debate about ADOS and what else? FBA and all this type of thing. And they struggle with this idea that we're African, and it's just too much. I won't even go into it, but I just want to close like this, and then we'll go around a circle. I do want to just say, my whole point here is that again, the point is, it's no question about whether we have culture. As I stated earlier, some can even say, depending on what's your level of understanding of culture, that we are the cultural leaders. But then we go back to culture being an organizing mechanism. It teaches you what to think, how to engage. And we understand even in that, we have adaptive aspects of our culture and maladaptive, meaning there's aspects of our culture that works for us and aspects that don't work for us. And hence, all cultures have aspects that don't work for them. There's not a culture in this world that doesn't have aspects that don't work for them. And that is why it's essential that culture evolves. Sometimes we get stuck. But that does not mean to discard all the good aspects of any culture. And that's what we tend to do lots of times in our adolescence understanding. I put here, if culture is essential to the survival of a people, there's no serious argument that African Americans don't have culture. Let me say it again. If culture is essential to the survival of a people, there's no serious argument that African Americans don't have culture. What people have been more tested than people in the diaspora that look like us, including those in the Americas, meaning the islands, meaning the South, North, Central, Canada, wherever. We have been tested. We're still being tested. So never forget that there's a cultural war going on. There's something called cultural racism even, where they want you to believe you don't have culture so that you can mimic, as Mama Faluke said earlier, them. So what you begin to use as a book or a guide book is their culture, because we are taught to see their culture as the healthy culture. I was looking at something. Oh man, I just lost it. But we have been taught to see their culture as a healthy and the healthy culture. So again, if culture is essential to survival of a people, there's no serious argument that African Americans don't have culture. We have survived and we even thrive. Ours is living, evolving, and leading in America and beyond. There's no people on this earth that is cultureless. There are cultures,
that we have to improve. Ashe. Got something there, brother?
Just been always good. I almost sound like a broken record, but this community feeds me. I actually rather quiet this week. I didn't say much, but this has been awesome. I appreciate everything, and I appreciate all the dialogue. I look forward to seeing what we evolve as our own little culture. Excited about that. Actually, that's all.
Yes, I do. It's been a while since I've been to a circle like this. I kind of was absorbing most of the dialogue that took place today. I enjoyed myself, and I'll be back every Sunday from now on to become more grounded in a cultural center space like this. Highly missed. I haven't had a lot of opportunities really this year to be in a space where I'm with other individuals who share the same how can I put this this thirst for knowledge and growth, and to look inward and to heal and ultimately present it outward to others who are in need of services, information and knowledge like that. So that's what I just have to say.
Thank you. Pass the mic like a hot potato. You want it, Bob?
Closing thoughts.
Takeaways, closing thoughts, leave some wisdom.
Well, within our own cultures, I can just speak for myself. I'm from the country. So when I came up Baltimore, it was like a total different thing, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't realize that it was a culture difference. And one thing that a lot of people will say about country people, y'all slow. And we not slow in our mind. I don't know what they mean by that. You know what I'm saying? But I just think the laid backness we had, but you know what I'm saying, is different culture. So when I came up here, that's when I seen a really culture difference. You know what I'm saying? Because we didn't have the things that they have up here. I didn't have a bus to hop. You understand what I'm saying? We did other things. We instead of hopping a bus, we hopped across the spring. So different cultures is all the way around, and everywhere you go, like you said just now, is that we have a different culture within here that we trying to expand upon, and I love it, so that's what it is.
So I think, Bobby, you shared a good example of how culture, you can have cultural commonality, but it evolves or morphs depending on the environment. You hop the spring, whatever that was, but not the bus.
Spring, like water.
Oh, water. Okay. Oh, okay. I didn't really understand. I'm being serious. No, okay. But again, also in that, as is essential as Dr. Marimba speaks about, is this culture ethos that you did. I would probably argue notice when you came here too. You still could connect though, right? On various levels, right? Yes, even though you came from a totally different environment, there still was something connected with you and them black people than maybe some of those other people that weren't necessarily.
Of course, yeah. Definitely with the black people, because where I come from, oh man, seriously, we used to go to every store we went to was the Ku Klux Klansmen, and we knew they were. You see what I'm saying? So that's yeah.
I can attest to that because I grew up in North Carolina and I didn't see black people in charge of nothing until I came to Baltimore. It was just like it just wasn't like that. And I didn't know. Of course, it was normal. I didn't know it was, I didn't necessarily know it was different. And then I started to, notice the differences and stuff. But yeah, I get it. I grew up in North Carolina, and it was like night and day. You know, and then I came from two different kinds of families. I came from one kind of family, Southern Christian. You know, kids stayed in their place, and they went to church and stuff. And my dad's side of the family, they were drinkers and fighters and stuff like that. It's very, very different.
Okay, Fer, you got something, Fer?
Yeah. You know, something that resonated with me today was the note, and I'm paraphrasing, the note that owning your Africanness is an act of rebellion, and or sustaining your Africanness or reaching back and, you know, being intentional about it is an act of rebellion. I agree with that, and I really appreciated that note.
Mm.
Oh, my turn. Sorry. First of all, Bobby, you're not slow, you're patient. Second of all, at the risk of backtracking, cultural norms, I say struggle and trauma. I know trauma is a word you've often used. To me, the struggle is embodied in everything from our fashion. We see signs of struggle all around here. Our music, at least the positive aspects of our music, a number of other traditions, whether they're well guided or misguided. The trauma basically comes from what the dominant Western culture has essentially done to the rest of the planet. It has led us to a very, I'm gonna use a big word here, anthropogenic, self-centered mindset. We were talking earlier about everything happening for a reason. I'm gonna steal a line from an action movie. Everything does happen for a reason. Doesn't always have to be a good one, and it doesn't even have to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Trump is the president today. That doesn't make any sense, but there was actually a reason for that. Some people who support him say he was sent by God. That's how, yeah, he was sent by God. First as a warning and then as a punishment. But from our perspective, the reason essentially why he is president today is because many people in our own community didn't organize strongly enough to stop him. So as Dr. King said, evil thrives when good people do nothing. All of that, however, is still a very anthropogenic discussion. We're talking about the universal good and whether or not things happen for the good. I remember seeing a message once that said, if you wipe out all the butterflies, all life on the planet will end. If you get rid of all the bees, all life on the planet will end. If you get rid of all of the critters that crawl in the dirt, the ones that we don't want to get on us, all life on the planet will end. If you get rid of all the humans, all life on the planet will flourish. So
who said that?
when I can't remember who said it, but a number of people have repeated that. But the notion is that we talk about what's happening now, climate change, global warming, all the disasters that are happening are going to bring about the end of the world. No, it's not going to bring about the end of the world. It's going to bring out the end of us. The world's still going to be here for another couple of 100 million years until the sun supernovas, okay? So it's not gonna be the end of the world, but we have a tendency to look at the world, the universe, as though it's centered on us. I have often, in my low moments, thought that perhaps the best thing would be global thermonuclear war so that God could start all over with the whales like he should have in the first place. Now,
Brother Cliff, get off the mic.
I will say one last thing on the organizing piece. First of all, August 30th, is that still on?
No.
Okay, we'll
talk. You're starting the whole conversation over again.
We'll talk about that.
I want to talk about all of that.
I'm gonna pass it.
Yeah. Thank you, Bob.
But I think the takeaway for me is that where we are here in North America is a very pivotal point for all African people globally. And for me to be quite comfortable in the existing culture as well as that which is developing. Be comfortable with that. And know that anything that is not changing or evolving is either dead or not yet born. So I'm comfortable with where we are culturally, the good aspects, and embracing the evolution of that.
Wow. I think everyone. Okay.
I'm sorry, I had to. You were so deep and introspective and gave me so much more to think about. I was like, I can't talk. So I had to let someone else speak. And then you reposed the question. Now remember, it was what was the takeaway? For me, the takeaway, the conversation today really sparked more interest into the subject matter. I came with a set of ideals that I hold firm. Some I've developed over time, but I still held them firm. And I kind of had to open up to be able to receive the ideals and perspectives of everyone else in the room. So thank you for that. Yeah, I'm intrigued. So hopefully I'll come back next week. Thank you.
Only you can change the hope besides if you say God. So, so thank you, brother.
Oh, I just on a second in that.
Oh,
First of all, welcome. We hope we do intend to see you back. But my takeaway is something I guess we touch on it a lot, but I'm just intrigued and thankful for the this circle being a challenge to thinking, like your way of thought. Like the sister said, she came in here with her own ideals and her beliefs. I think a lot of us present our own beliefs and our own way of thinking here in the circle, but I really appreciate the challenge to our minds, the challenge to think. And, and I appreciate the open-mindedness of this circle you don't have to agree. You don't have to agree right now. You can take it home and digest it, but just the willingness to be able to, using the same word, adapt, like have your mind adapt to another way of thinking. So I really, that's what I take away from this group all the time, but I really saw it today. Like I really saw people present ideas and ways of think, because if you think about culture, it was like, it is a weird thing. Like, I don't think we think deep about culture. I don't think we ever really think really deep about it. So just to have a dive a little deeper into what it means or what it doesn't mean was intriguing today.
Thank you for that. I think I saw somebody. Oh, did you have something? You changed it? You had something?
Am I the last one? Can I be last? I mean, not.
You want to be last before the last, but let me say this before you last. I know you're gonna say something, but let him let Brother Cliff say something before you about the event coming up, and then
Okay. All right. Well, first of all, I wanted to make sure with you that we are coordinated on that. August 30th here.
Look, I told you once.
Pan-African Town Hall.
Okay.
Here, 1 to 5, August 30th. That's a Saturday. Pan-African Town Hall, Maryland Pan-African Cooperative Coalition, which is an organization we've been trying to build for the last 3 or so years to try to get all these different organizations that all say Africa must unite, Black people must come together, but don't actually do it. So we're trying to create a coalition between all these different organizations, and toward the end of reaching out to the community and involving as many of our different organizations as possible, we've been holding Pan-African Town Halls. We did 3 of them here last year, and this will be the first one this summer. Again, that will be Saturday, August 30th, 1 to 5. I got a few little itty bitty flyers back here too. And of course, we invite all members of our community to come out. Also, of course, now coming up this Saturday is Marcus Garvey Day at Harlem Park. And I know Baba Charlie Duggar is doing that. So there are a whole lot of things that are going on that are designed to, I guess, reawaken our sense of community and our sense of culture and our sense of struggle against the trauma that is imposed upon us by our historical enemies. And so we're looking forward to seeing people come out to that. And with that, I'm going to pass it.
Thank you.
We are family, like a giant tree, growing stronger, getting wiser. We are family, like a giant tree, growing stronger, getting wiser.
Ashe. How you? I suppose a comp number. I can do it. Yeah. So we are wiser, stronger. After all this today, thank you. So let me say this. I appreciate the conversation, right? And I can, I sense all the discomfort. This place right here is for that, though. I'll be honest with you. This is about growing. Look, this ain't the space not to want to grow. Growth takes some stress, some challenge, some friction. And guess what? His brother Lowe said, nobody ain't got to agree. But even when it comes from me, because look, I'm not here to waste my time, or I'll just be honest with you. I see the text and all that going on. I see that. I saw my dear brother leave out today. If you come here, you are not above being challenged, because I'm not either. Because I'm looking for it. You understand what I'm trying to say? How do we grow when we're too big for a challenge? Everything I say, I want you to challenge me. You know what I mean? I want the challenge, because I ain't in here for my ego. Because it's good. And what I mean by, and so what I'm saying is, even Brother Cliff, I love Brother Cliff, but and I want us to say, I want us to say this. There's no easy answers. My dear brother Cliff says, and he said a lot, so that's why I had to stop him. But and it was a lot that I want to challenge. There's one thing I want to really challenge on our way out of here. The world is too complex to have easy answers to things. I know we mean well, but in this room, we look at it in more complex and nuanced ways. Because Black people cannot take the blame for Trump being where he is. It ain't look, do not put that on you. Do not put that in us. Scared straight don't work. The research even supports it. Black people are not to blame. The world is way more complex than that. And in fact, we voted majority the other way. Whether you want to admit it, male and female. And nobody, I'm talking about way over more than everybody else. So how do we take that blame? So we have to look at things in more nuanced ways, and you can challenge me on that. But I understand that's a scare straight tactic. But the research supports the scare straight don't work. The same young men they put in the prisons and tried to scare them straight, they all went to jail. I don't know if that's quite all the way true, but it's true that it didn't work. So it's way more complex than that. And how things happen. And, you take human beings off the earth, I'm sorry, the world would miss us, because every part is essential. Birds, bees, and humans. And even what human beings are doing is also a part of our own nature. There's nothing unnatural about how you respond, even if it's due to trauma. And we understand that white people are the most traumatized people, so they went around the world to traumatize everybody else. Because before they met us, they had traumatized one another, and so they were just so good at it. Put an X. Put a. Hold on, brother. Close. Pick the mic up. Oh, okay. Would you get an asterisk beside? Yeah, and guess what? In responses are natural, whether or not they look animalistic because we are goddamn animals or not. That's a reality. We think we are somebody said it. I think Bobby Cliff said it. That we try to separate ourselves from nature. We are a part of it. And when we are hurt, we will respond in ways that hurt people respond. Oh, you acting like a beast. No, the beast came out of me because it was necessary. It's trying to survive. But the problem with trauma is when you're in a safe place, if you've been traumatized, you don't know how to differentiate. Blessings.
Are we gonna close it out with 7 Harambes?
Thank you, Brother Fur.
All right, let's close this out. Collectively, we'll start raising our hands like this, Black Power, all that. And down to Harambe and finish off with the fist in the air. Ready? Harambe, 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 Harambe.
All right.